Good evening, televiewers. Welcome to Prime Hour on My Media Prime. We are glad to have you once again before your screens to follow what we have prepared for you this evening. We use this opportunity to wish a Merry Christmas to all of you out there. We hope you are preparing to celebrate the coming to the world of Jesus Christ, the Savior of mankind. We are this year going to be looking at the regional elections that took place some days back. Regional executives have been elected. It's the time for them to start work, and how impatient are Cameroonians to see them finally get to work is the focus for tonight's edition of the program. And in the studio with us already, we have two panelists who are on their way. Senior Barrister Ashu Emmanuel is in the studio with us. He is the national president of the Reform Party. Good evening and welcome.
Good evening, Mr. Leo. Good evening, televiewers. It's always a pleasure. Merry Xmas to those of you who are Christians, those of you who, like me, are not Christians. Well, let's join our Christian friends to celebrate.
Good news for Cameroon there with the elections of the regional councillors.
Well,
no, elections of the regional executives.
Thank you, Mr. Leo. I don't know whether it is good news or bad news, but to me, I don't see anything good, any news good to be considered in what has just happened, because as a legal mind, I see that it is good confusion that has been put in place, because if you look at the powers that have devolved on the regions, you will see that there is a lot of confusion, because they basically have the same functions as the ministries that exist. So I don't know how they are going to function in the field. Who will be in charge of what? Because the same functions that are being given to ministries are the very functions that are being given to regions. So in practical terms, we are seeing that there are going to be two captains or many captains on board one ship.
Good evening, Professor Mark Anthony, Pan-Africanist. We're glad to have you.
Thank you, Mr. Liu, and good evening to Senior Barrister Ashu, who is with me in the studio, and to the million viewers watching at us at this particular hour. I think it is an opportunity to actually educate Cameroonians and Africans again on issues that are happening in Cameroon. And of recent, as you rightly said to the barrister, we saw an election of the executive, the new executive of the different regions elected. That is something that we need to, in one way, give an opportunity to know what is going to come out of it, but for the fact that the various laws that are governing their operation are actually creating what I should call confusion, because there seems to be a kind of should I use the word? There's a kind of interchange of same duties in different the various regions and with the ministries, and as well as the independent conciliator. There are some things that we need to look into to find out if, in case, there's going to be a true balance, or are we going to be having a war.
Okay, like I earlier announced, we, in the course of this program, be expecting that you send your votes, indicate to us who is the best mayor, no, the best MP for this month. Just send us the name of the best MP for the month, and at the end of this month, we are going to announce to our audience who our audience consider the best mayor who is working so well. Send us the name and tell us why you think he is the best mayor. Okay, I'll start with you, Senior Barrister. Is the issue not also with the population understanding what this regional council is all about, and understanding what decentralization is all about?
Yes, Mr. Liu, you're very correct. The problem is the understanding the population should have of the decentralization process and the powers that are going to be given to the regional councils and the councils. Because if we are going by the Constitution, we'll see that the structures of the state are defined in the Constitution as the regions and the councils. But the CPDM government has, throughout the years, almost 40 years, put in place a centralized. I keep asking them, where is the legal basis? Where the legal foundation of the ministries they are put in place? There is no legal foundation. In fact, what they are doing today with the law on decentralization is what is supposed to be constitutional. Not those their ministries that they put in place. And they don't want to relinquish those ministries. You see, so as I was saying earlier, we are having a serious problem now because finally they are trying to give back the powers of governance to the councils and the regions as prescribed by the constitution. But they are creating confusion by maintaining their old structures. So the whole thing looks like a duplication of the powers of the existing structures given now to the new structures. Take Ministry of Health. You will have the Minister of Health in Yaoundé with the central and external services. External services, you have the regional services, the divisional services, the district services. Now it may want to interest you that the region has the president and it has the regional services, they have the councils. So, in terms of the health situation, when the Ministry of Health receives its budget, it will send down a portion part of the budget now to the external services. Okay, in the field, since the regional president and the regional council, they also have powers to control health services and do the same thing as the ministry. Who will be in charge of what? I am saying it's a duplication of it's an unnecessary duplication of the functions. These CPDM people simply don't have confidence in the councils and the regions to manage the state of the affairs of the country. So they some sort of still maintain those old structures of their ministries as if to watch the performance of the region. You see how much money is given to the regions? 15%. They keep 85%. They want to watch and see.
They say not less than 15%.
They don't give you any higher limits.
They may send 30%.
And their ministries will run with what? What would their ministries run with? You see, look, the whole trouble about this thing.
Senior Barrister,
I want to, excuse me, sir.
Okay.
The whole trouble is this. These are people who said that federalism was too expensive. Can you imagine? These are the people. They said federalism was too expensive. In the federal setup, we had the West Cameroon government that had its secretaries of state that worked directly with the administration, with the civil service. They removed it and put in place this their thing. You have the governor. Now you have the regional president. So you have two governors. You have two governors. One appointed, one elected. Then you have the councils. Then you have the sous-prefet. Then you have the prefect. My brother, the expenditure that they were trying to run away from in the federal system has been multiplied by 5. What is this nonsense about? I said here that we should allow them put it in place so we can demonstrate to them that it is nonsense. And look at the nonsense.
But you are going to take part in these elections.
I didn't take part. I didn't.
Yeah, but you've explained all those things. But a mother who is watching from Muya, from Bai, or wherever, Ndu Kamer, now, or from one village in Mura, is a problem not really with the understanding of what decentralization is. And if we are coming to put it in place, was it not also important, imperative, that these explanations be done before now?
Yes, you see, I had said earlier on this platform that what we are seeing is not decentralization. It is deconcentration, because these people, they have put all the powers at the center, and they are struggling now to take small and give to the regions. That is their problem. So it is really not decentralization. Decentralization, as prescribed in the Constitution, is supposed to be this code minus that their civil service. Let them remove everything and allow the councils and the regions run the country. That is what is provided for. Now, you want the mother in the village to understand what? In their daily life, they will go to the council normally to do their business as usual. The legal problems that we are raising, they will not see. they can only suffer the effect because one, there will be a conflict between the mayor, who has powers to equip hospitals. You imagine they have the powers to create, manage, equip hospitals, but they don't have money to do so. Take the general hospital in Douala. If the mayor of Douala town, the Douala city, wants to go equip, where does he get money to equip that hospital? And then if he goes there, then the delegate of health tells him that I have a budget for that already.
They are collaborators.
Please, Douala does not have a special independent conciliator. Yeah, you see? And you see that? That is a point where conflict may arise. But they created special public independent conciliators only for Northwest and Southwest, leaving the others. Whereas the conflicts are likely to arise everywhere. How will you solve that in Douala when it arises? Or in Yaoundé?
Yeah, understanding the levels of powers of the regional presidents is also very capital, so that people don't expect more than they can deliver. It is true the text exists, but the population needs to know. Like what we are observing with MPs today, people think that an MP's role is to come and do micro project grants, not knowing that what is expected of them is to make laws.
Yes, Mr. Liu, but from what we have seen in relation to the laws, actually indicate that most of these, the regional executives, they are supposed to function carrying the same duties that the various ministries carry. And that is where we said there seems to be a duplication of rules of operation, as well as trying to explain it will mean that we need to start explaining the same way ministries work. This is the same way our executives are going to be operating. And if that is the case, we are going to be telling the people that we are surely going to see what we call a conflict of power, which is going to be a disturbing situation that will be happening in Cameroon. And like the barrister rightly pointed, it is not something that is only in the Northwest. And now the president actually released another decree this particular evening, was it today, indicating that there will be an independent public conciliator for the Northwest and the Southwest. And you look at it, that particular public conciliator will not be found in the other 8 regions. But we know that they will use the same law to function in the other 8 different regions. So the question is, who will be dealing with the problems that will be happening in the other 8 regions? Let's keep all those things aside and come back. If we say the regional councillors and regional executive needs to deal with educational issues, and we have the Ministry of Education, we have a regional delegate for
education. Within the context of the regional councils, there is a commissioner for that.
Yes, there is a commissioner for that. That's where I am saying that there is a problem. When we have, the ministry has its delegate who is there, and at the same time we have a commissioner who will be concerned with education. Is there not going to be a conflict of power there? Yeah,
but on that, with the case, especially the case of the Southwest and Northwest regions, a special status is given, and that these regional councils are supposed to ensure the strict respect of the subsystem of education and the judiciary. We are talking about common law.
So you now are struggling to define it and limit their power.
It is contained.
It is there. What I'm saying is you are struggling to limit their power to just be observers, to maintain the English system. No, I think their duty is to make sure, because there's
it goes beyond that to what
that's what I'm saying. Okay, from what you are saying, if I have to take your words like you said, it does not necessarily mean that because these people have been commissioned to be to deal with education, they are supposed to limit only making sure that the subsystem is executed. No, they have to cover education in general. That's from primary to secondary.
Yes, the English subsystem of education.
And I don't think that will be the only one, because there's also the French section, in the Northwest and Southwest. It's not only the English subsection. So if we have to limit it at that point, then we are creating a problem. So I don't think that's what it's going to be. So I believe that in that case, we need to be able to rectify those things. If we don't do it now, there's going to be a lot of problems tomorrow.
Thank you, Prof. You see, this is something very interesting. You see, the powers. When you talk of special status. I want the population to understand.
Yeah, but before we get there, I want us to follow the questions, please.
Yes.
I want us to understand the powers of these presidents, so that the population does not expect more than they can deliver.
That is what I'm telling you now. Look, I say, when you talk of special status, let us go and look at the powers that are devolved on the
councils,
on the House of Chiefs and the House of Divisional Representatives that make up the regional assembly. The House of Chiefs may be consulted. Don't go and give them powers that they don't have. They may be consulted on matters of education and the subsystem of education.
No, House of Chiefs, they have to do with the issues that has to do with chiefs.
The running of the house. Running of their house.
The chiefs, no, the chiefs.
Running of their house.
Yes.
It is not
issues that has to do with monuments, cultural activities. That is what they have to do.
Where did you see that one?
No, it's
the law of the,
yes.
They may be consulted. It's a consultative assembly. They don't have any power to make any law, sir. It is consultative. Correct me if you can. It is a consultative house that may be consulted.
Okay.
Their opinion must not be taken. So we don't expect them. In fact, at the beginning of every session, they should better just ask the tappers to produce enough mbu or matango so that the session can be lively. Because when how many times will you sit to give an opinion on subsystem? Prof brought up a very important point. In the northern and southwest regions, there is not only the English system of education. So people whose children are being affected, who are living the realities of the Francophone education. In Limbe, we have big schools like the Sonara school, which is a purely Francophone school. Your child is going there and you cannot give an opinion on what is happening? Is that what they're telling us? No, sir. You see, that thing is ill-conceived. We said it here. It is ill-conceived and premature. They did it in a haste. How can you live in a society? There are many aspects.
They focus on one.
They focus on one. When they say English for subsystem of education, what type of system are they talking about? Because we have American schools, we have British schools, we have Chinese schools. So all those ones should be allowed to function like that. And our chiefs can only give opinion on the English subsystem. Do these people realize that in our society, there are many educational institutions? They will tell me that the system means that it is what the minister has prescribed. But when you go to those schools and see the curriculum, the school curriculum, you will not, you don't see how the minister intervenes to say, please, these children should not study more than what we have prescribed. Because in actual fact, when you go to American school here, is it the same syllabus? Not at all. Not at all. And I come back to the same question. Why limit it only to the other side? Don't we have Anglophone schools in Douala, Yaoundé, and the rest of the country? So the opinion of the House of Chiefs will be only on, because they cannot give an opinion on the English subsystem of education in areas that are not within their jurisdiction. Except they want to tell us that the law will expand their functions so that they become national when it comes to education.
Needs to do that.
Okay,
I
think that section 306, I did not bring all of it, I just brought part. It says, the president of the regional council shall be the executive of the region. He shall be assisted by a regional bureau elected to the same time as within the council. The regional bureau must reflect the sociological composition of the region. My question is the real powers that the president has, the regional president?
Well, this man is a governor.
He's a governor?
He is a governor. He's supposed to be a governor. Like I was saying, you see, if you take the functions of the region, you see that they are the functions of the ministries. The functions given to the president are the functions of a governor. The only thing that is not there is that they have not said that he is the personal representative of the Edo State, which is the case with the other governor who is appointed. But even this one too, he is electively appointed. Because when you look at what happened, most of the people are all CPDM people who were appointed by the Central Committee and just rubber-stamped. So there is no difference. I don't see an election there. They were appointed. Okay. So what functions is he going to have that will be different from those of his mayors? In practical terms, he has the same functions. His duty is to see to it that the functions that have been given to the council are executed.
Okay. Since we're talking about the House of Chiefs, we have been talking about it, but let me just get back to what you said earlier, Ron. The House of Chiefs shall rule on all matters falling within the powers of the Regional Assembly. It shall comprise 5 committees. No, oops. Okay. The Committee of Administrative and Legal, there is a mix-up there. I wanted us to look at the House of Chiefs. I'll get back to it. But talking about duplication of functions here, we have the president, the vice president, who is a traditional ruler. We have the Commissioner for Economic Development. We have one Commissioner for Health and Social Development. We have one Commissioner for Educational, Sports and Cultural Development. We have 2 secretaries and 1 questor. To tie with what you are saying, but we have just been joined by Dr. Ako John. Ako, good evening and welcome. I don't know whether it's the traffic that held you back, but we're glad you are here with us. Looking at what we are talking about, who gives power? Is it the law that gives power to our regional executive, or it is the people that is supposed to give the powers to them?
Yeah, I believe on one of the time, I would like also, first of all, to recognize that the powers of the regional assemblies are equally powers emanating from the state, which means the powers that be at the level of the regional assembly were first of all regulated by another institution, which means those powers might have been discussed upon by the organ in charge with the duty of formulating laws, which here in one part can be the President of the Republic in terms of emergency or when Parliament is not sitting, or maybe the National Assembly and the Senate, which means before the creation of this particular organ, another organ superior to it might have deliberated immensely before coming out with these particular principles. So in one way or the other, I will tell you that on the other hand, you find that those who represent at the level of the regional assemblies are equally voted by the people, which means they have the mandate of the people to represent the interest of that particular group that they do represent, which will equally get us to an understanding that their equally elections were said to be indirect, which means under other democratic systems we talk of the grand or delegated electorate. Delegated electorates in the name of councillors decided to vote for those who head at the level of the regional assembly, which makes again the task more complicated. At one time, we start asking if really they will defend the interests of the people that mandated the councillors first before looking at the interests of the councillors themselves or others at the level. You see some people telling you that since the whole country has become a fire emblem, I mean the CPDM party, with just one region being hosted or organized by the opposition party, the UNDP, it is equally giving us an indication that he who pays the piper equally calls the tune. He who even abrogated or promulgated into law the formation of regional assembly at one point or the other might have just included those who can pipe and sing for him. And this has not been a different. I mean, my problem is, does Cameroon really need institution presently, or institutions with so many characterized elections were meant just to launder the interests of those particular people that are present in power. It is again one of the things we try to see, that the CPDM party said is the most populous, and that is this one that all Cameroonians are behind. When we look at electoral laws, a lot of people have been crying over it, but the CPDM party has been adamant to accepting that there is a need to instead remake up, rejuvenate the laws that handles elections in Cameroon before organizing elections. Is this the time when you go in the northwest and the southwest region too? Some people said elections were not even held. Some delegates were chosen by the party even after they were voted at the level of their various primaries by their own people. So these people, who do they represent? Who do they represent in Cameroon? As I said, he who decides for the elections knows already for whose interest.
My initial question is, who should give them power? Is it the law or the people?
Yeah, that is what I'm saying. I've just said it is a two-side question, which if we look at, those who elected them gave them powers. And then those who, first of all, organizes the setting of such an assembly. I will tell you that the regional assembly in Cameroon is a compensation scheme which have been scammed by the CPDM party to appreciate those retired CPDM elites that were not unable or think they might be going on retirement very soon and may not have access to the national cake. So this is another institution which I don't think...
Dr. Akwa, are you not being too hard on those?
No, it is not. I want just to ask you, between me and you and even the other panelists, that the Senate, which we said it is the high institution in terms of legislative power, do you really smell a distinction between what the National Assembly was doing and what the Senate has done today? That is extraordinary. And so we should equally be thinking that the coming of the regional assemblies may at one point give an extraordinary situation to the present situation. If the Senate has not done anything, when you look at those who are the Senate, my dear, some of them were with the head of state in 1970, and they are the same people. 30 of them were appointed by the head of state, and we wish that the Senate should play a miracle. Those who have now been appointed, yes, 2 days or 3 days ago, the composition of the executive of the regional councils, the executive of those assemblies, what do you think?
Okay.
They were all manipulated at the level of the civilian party, and today they represent the party, not even the people. Yes, the law states clearly that when an electorate, a leader of a party is voted, it is for the name of the people of Cameroon. But this is not true with Cameroon.
No, nobody stopped them from going for election. Not even you, Senior
yeah,
Mr. Very briefly, because
Mr. Dio, please, you see, you have been asking this question: the powers of the regional president. Article Section 312. The regional president shall be the interlocutor of the representative of the state, that's the governor. Represent the region in all civil matters and before the law courts. Prepare and implement regional council deliberations. Authorize the revenue and expenditure of the region, subject to separate provisions laid down by the law in force. Manage the property of the region and monitor such management, particularly with regard to movement of such property, subject to the duties devolving on the representative of the state and mayors. He may under his supervision and responsibility grant delegation. This man has no work. Look at it, it's empty. What the functions are, this is empty.
Okay, but we have seen the competencies that have been transferred to the regions. He has to supervise all of that now.
This man has no power over, look.
In the domain of health.
When you read this thing, you see that the regional president has no power over mayors.
Yes.
He has no, it's clearly said there, subject to the duties devolving on the representative of the state and mayors. And mayors, he doesn't control them. So what powers has he? I want to thank my brother, Mr. Aku, Dr. Aku, for saying that it is a thank you assembly. Yeah? Thank you assembly for people who
Andrew Atemibako, we're glad you are here. I don't know whether you buy what they are saying, but how do we get the people to fully support these new leaders? Because they're in place whether we like it or not, but they can only succeed also with the collaboration of the population now.
I think that question goes on both sides.
There
will be, the government will give them power, and also the population which they represent, they are also supposed to give them their support and their maximum support to see that the decentralization accelerate to where we are supposed to go to. You see, Mr. Leo, it wonders me sometimes when I find, how will I put it, people who make analysis based on the law. We have written laws in Cameroon where we know that those laws are not put into practice. So we cannot make analysis based on laws, because at the end of the day, we are not robots. We are human beings, and we have consciences, and we have decisions to make. We have seen where laws have been overdrifted away when human conscience comes into play. So my point here is, Mr. Leo, I really want to know is the people who are claiming that the decentralization is not an advancement to the prosperity and the progress of this nation. I really wonder what they were expecting that should have happened in Cameroon. It is true that at one point I will agree with many of them that the Grand National Dialogue was held because some of these people may not understand the differences of these two Anglophone crises like I mentioned before. Many people would have expected that it should address the Ambazonian issue. But I've made it clearly that the regional election that came out as a result of the Grand National Dialogue was meant to resolve another crisis which had been pending ere long by the people of the Southwest. And it is true that this has been a prayer answered because they believe that the only way, Mr. Leo, that a nation such as this with different ethnicity and different divisions, regions, sub-regions, and tribes can only advance only by decentralization. That is a simple truth, whereby each region aims to respect one another because there must be a form and a base of mutuality and respect, and that can only come when regions have autonomy. So when they are wondering whether this the regional actors are being put into place, what powers do they have? I don't think that is the way we should start judging them, because like I said before, the one who won the seat in Ebolowa, the Juan Manuel, who is of the CPDM, said that he is expecting to see how much power is going to be relinquished from Yaoundé ever since 1960 when we come from
but it is contained already in the law.
That is what I'm saying, Mr. Liu, that the decentralization, to me, as far as I am concerned, it is the only thing that is going to advance Cameroon to where Cameroon is supposed to go to. Let me say something here, Mr. Liu. I know as a lot of other politicians from different political backgrounds may always be there to condemn the government. But as a Pan-Africanist, the way I look at it, I am more interested in seeing how can these people of different tribes, different ethnicity, different background, what junction can bind all of them together in a common vision, in such a way that they can work at a common good to build this nation. And that is the only solution where decentralization comes into place, because a lot of people may say, Biya go, the regime go. But trust me, Mr. Liu, if that happens, the same people will start saying Biya come. It's the same thing we saw in the Northwest and in the Southwest. A lot and majority gave their votes in. Today they are saying that let's go back to how life used to be. So let us be very careful when you used to hear sometimes the Bible says pray for your enemies. We must before they know the kind of categories of enemy we are talking of. There are enemies, Mr. Leo, that we need to pray for God to keep them in good health. If Biya today leaves power, many of us will not live in Cameroon. That is a simple truth. Cameroon will be a chaos. So we are praying that as CPDM is there in place, they should be able to do things that can bring Cameroonians to a point of consensus, whereby all these differences can find a place where they can merge together and understand that this is where we are going to, because what we are facing today in Cameroon may also be a tribalistic problem. Decentralization, Mr. Leo, gives the Cameroonian the possibility for each region to manage their own affairs. So whether the regional actors are there to supervise and manage the resources of their region, I think this is an extremely great step for the Cameroon people to advance into where Cameroon is supposed to go to. So people who oppose the decentralization, I don't know what else do they want in Cameroon, honestly speaking, because we know that the many opposition parties that are claiming today, if many of them get into power, as we saw many people who gave their votes even to the Ambazonian struggle, we saw how that struggle became a one where it became a nightmare to the very people who gave their votes. So let us be very careful, Mr. Leo. Like I still said, that Cameroon from the background we are coming from, it's not a country of self-determination. We have to be very careful.
Lots of work to be done out there, Professor Mark Anthony. Many persons raised the worry of party discipline, given that most of those that are manning our councils, the presidents and a host of others, are from within the ruling CPDM party, and we know how strong the policy of party discipline is in that party. Do you think that now that they have been sent out to work in the interest of the people, they can see beyond party lines?
Mr. Leo, I want to begin by saying that if the people are the ones who voted for you, then you are representing the people, not the party. We know very well that there are what we call party disciplines. But I want to believe that if somebody believes that he has been given a mandate, and that mandate was not given by his party, but was given by the people who elected him, then he should work for the people and not for the party. Implying that there might be situations which he is supposed to act which might go contrary to the law, but which will be in favor of the people. He should do that for the good of the people and not for the party. And before continuing on that step, Mr. Leo, I want to say, I think from the question you asked, Mr. Bako, I don't think anybody here was contrary to decentralization. Everybody wants that there should be decentralization from what I've already gotten on this table. But the idea that has been implemented is not decentralization, it's deconcentration of power. And the problem with it is the fact that those whom have been given power, when you go looking at the law that stipulates how they are supposed to function, there are problems with it. And so when people are talking on those problems, they are not against this, the constitutional demands. I think that the Cameroon constitution says that there should be decentralization. We have ministers, they don't have a part and a function when it comes to the constitution. We have DOs, the constitution does not permit them to operate. Now that they have elected these people to take place, I think it is time to not only deconcentrate, but to actually decentralize the power.
When you say decentralize the powers, what were you expecting?
It is but obvious, Mr. Leo, that what we should expect is that if they are electing a regional executive, that regional executive should take total control from the governor. And that should also mean that...
Should control the military? The police?
I'm sure that we have an État Major that should control military. And it does not also mean that the regional councillor cannot have authority over military.
Is the President of the Republic who is the Chief of the Armed Force now?
Yes, we know. We know that there is a Chief of the Armed Force. But if you look at it, the governor, or let's say the DO, who is the, as a Frenchman say, prefer, has the powers of the governor, of the president, to control the military.
Yes, at the level of the division.
The division. And the governor...
The DO has same at the level of the subdivision.
Yes. And the governor for the region.
The region, yeah.
That is what the executive is supposed to be doing. That's what the executive power... Those are powers that are supposed to be given to the executive. And so, when we look at it, we see that there is a lapse there, but notwithstanding, we cannot completely say, okay, something is not happening. Something is happening, but we should not make this mistake. It is not the direction that the nation needs to take. The constitution has to be respected. If it is not respected, people need to talk. So, in this case, we can't claim that that is the part of the development of Cameroon. That is not the part of the development of this nation. If this country is going to emerge, what was supposed to have been executed 24 years back is being executed now, but not even given to the state in which the constitution demands. And when my brother tells us here not to analyze based on the law, you are simply telling us that we should become anarchic, which is not correct. We must use the law that has been actually promulgated to talk from. We don't have any other substance on which we can talk. Trying to imagine what I think that should be is a wrong step. but I have to follow what that constitution presents and what the law that the president has enacted prescribes.
Yeah.
And Mr. Leo, if we are to follow that, even the law has problems, and that is why we were talking from, not talking against the step.
Senior barrister, you know some or many of those who were elected here in the littoral region. For the southwest and northwestern regions, you must know some of them. Even why not in the north? At least you are a lawyer now. You consult for some of them. You think that the people should look at them without necessarily considering their political caps?
Well, when it comes to, we have to understand that this is a public service. And no matter the political orientation, when you are called to exercise a public service, a public duty, you are not supposed to serve only people of your party. You serve everybody. So I don't think the public will be affected by the political inclination of those appointed. You see, I want to go back to what my brother Mr. Bako was talking. You see, dura lex set lex. You see, the law is hard, but it is a law. You have to apply it. There is no way you can, there is no society that can function without the law. That is why they say the law, everybody is equal before the law. You cannot be analyzing legal institutions without looking at the law. What are those institutions based on? They are not based on country fashion. They are based on the law. And the reason why you invite us here is for us to help the population understand what to expect from this, from all what is happening.
It's time to get to work.
Yes, it's time to get to work, so they should understand what is happening. And we are saying that as, me as a legal mind, I'm saying that what I am seeing is not good, because these people, they have been violating the constitution since 40 years. And today when they want to try to respect it, they still cling to their old violations. They maintain that they are over-centralized system, which is unconstitutional. I will say it time and again. The constitution does not provide for that. Those are 70 ministers that are put there. It doesn't. What it provides for is what they are trying to do now. They should scrap that nonsense. You can look, if you look at this their law on decentralization. I don't know how they expect this thing to function. Let me just take section 325. 325. The President of the Republic appoints the Secretary General of the Regional Council. And the Regional Secretary General is the closest collaborator of the regional president. Do you know what that can cause? Let me remind you of a case that I handled. Ndangale Kumase against the state of Cameroon. He was mayor of Bonaveri. The problem he had was with his Secretary General. His Secretary General, who refused to work with him, who went and dropped up charges and caused him to be sent to special criminal court. So look, you see how a Secretary General can paralyze an institution. They take that same thing and they are putting there. You, the president, cannot choose your Secretary General. Okay, the Secretary General, the regional president, if he wants to make appointments, he shall make his appointments, which have to be validated by the state representative within 8 days.
Who's the governor?
The governor. So the governor can either say, I accept them or I reject them. So the people that the regional president chooses to work with must be people that the governor likes. Oh my God. What powers are you giving to these people? Then you say we don't want decentralization. How can you say you give with the right hand and take with the left hand? You are giving nothing. They are causing more confusion. Like I was saying, these are people who said federalism was too expensive. Let us look at the number of, look at the expenditure they are putting on the table. What we had under the federal system is multiplied by 5. By 5. How many secretary generals are you getting? In all the regions, you have governor, secretary general. Now you are creating regional councils with secretary general. They are now per region. Now they are 2. And so you have 20. My God, 20.
Yeah, 12 assemblies.
Yeah. Ha!
12 assemblies. The Senate, the National
Assembly,
and the various regional assemblies.
Terrible. And look at these people who were saying that federalism was too expensive. Look at what they're putting in place. I said the expenditure will multiply by 5. And they think that it is going to work. How will it work when the person you call the boss of the region does not have powers over his mayors? I'm still to see that provision where the regional president can control the mayor. I'm not seeing. If any person has said, please show me, because me, I am not seeing. What is his use?
Yeah, but the supervisory authority for the mayors is the SDO now.
Ah, thank you. Thank you. The supervisory authority for the mayors is the SDO.
I think we should go to
we should go to control.
No, you are right.
You are right.
You are right. You are very right.
I'll trace it and read it out.
No, yes. You are correct, sir.
Yes,
I am saying that the regional president is of no use. He has no importance because he does not control.
You cannot say.
No, you read something there. It's not when you read things, you cannot leave out some other things. I would like you to read back what you read before.
What I read before?
Yes,
I recited. I didn't read. I didn't read anything.
Ah, okay. I thought you were reading.
One thing.
This is. I talked about section 225. If you want, I can read it.
Read it.
Okay. The representative of the state or his duly mandated delegate shall, as of right, take part in regional council meetings whenever. That was not what I said. It was 322. The 323, where the president of the republic shall appoint secretary general. That was the one. Shall appoint secretary general of the region upon the recommendation of the minister in charge of regional and local authorities. So he appoints the secretary general. Then 325 talks of the representative of the state participating in meetings. He must be there. So what powers do the region really have? They have nothing, no powers. It's an unnecessary duplication of functions.
Okay, somebody's saying I should ask you, senior barrister, for Ferdinand who is watching, says if Article 68 of the Cameroon's constitution is still applicable, because see Article 58, danger for regions, decentralization.
68, he said.
Yes.
Yeah, 68. That is to say the institutions of the Federal Republic and the federal states are still in force.
Yes.
Good. Of course, it's still applicable. Has he seen any other constitutional provision that abrogates that one? It's still applicable.
Okay.
In fact, no law even abrogates the constitution.
Okay. Yes.
That's why I say constitutional provision.
I'll
look for that.
Yeah, one thing I was a bit worried, and I wanted to answer Mr. Bako on a host of things. Mr. Bako should be very sincere to himself to state here that Cameroonians said they want decentralization and that those who criticize it. I have always believed when we do things in numerical data that the wish of Cameroonians is for decentralization. I mean, if we go by a referendum to this Cameroon that we belong, no Cameroonian accepted that decentralization should be a system of government in Cameroon. After 22 years of non-applicability of this very principle, it is even the cause of the present crisis for over 4 years now that we are unable to resolve. If any community believes that decentralization will work, it is still a colonialist tendency for those who still support and endure the French administrative manipulation on Africa and not to accept the supremacy of Africans, that Africans can host their own institution and control them by themselves. There was what we call the House of Chiefs, and now they came out with what they call another House of Chiefs. So what happened with the past one in 1961? That created a problem that it was abolished because the French has put in a mandate that all Cameroonians trained from France should represent colonial policies in Africa. The last group of people are the very people now present in power in Cameroon. Some of them were with the French, others have been in French schools and still believe that without the French they cannot have a life. But we sincerely believe that we can do it by ourselves. On the most honest point, in case where there is a discussion on issues affecting the identity of a state, I've never seen where that it is an issue of a single person's decision to impose. We take it as a referendum. Can we look at the constitution and see if the assembly, the National Assembly, the Senate, all the powers that be, look for a more better principle to recognize if Cameroonians really wanted decentralization. Let's go in for any election. As we have been carrying elections, I don't think a referendum on the state, the form of the state, should equally be avoided, because we should discuss these things. When we started in 2016, a lot of people came out with arguments that federalism should not be discussed. But the whole confusion, I mean, a group of desperados sit back in Yaoundé, then feel that they can manipulate Cameroon to represent their interests. We are Cameroonians, and we should be capable of being sincere. I've always been saying this thing, that what legacy do you have as an administrator within the Cameroonian government of a particular time? Can you act, or are you acting for the interest of Cameroon, or doing so because you are speaking for the master? There is a need, without again saying, that the whole law on decentralization and the powers in Yaoundé, or whatsoever they're trying to implement, is a mess up. It's a total confusion within judicial or governmental institutions.
There was an opportunity for persons to go for elections now.
No, it is not. We don't need. Why do you go to a process that you know is already faulty and is bound to collapse? When they wanted the senior, I said that is not a Cameroonian problem. When they went for the bilingualism commission, disarmament, we said these were not Cameroonian problems. These were not the solution.
What were your proposals?
Yes, I made a series of proposals. Get back to the form of the state and look at the federation that Cameroonians are sorting and try to see if this is the wish of Cameroon. Get into a referendum on the form of the state. It should be discussed. It has been discussed in many other parts of the world. Why are we afraid of it? We are not here because we hate Cameroon. A host of Cameroonians are feeling that Cameroon is going on the real down. This is not the state of Cameroon in 1982. If politically the country is so tensioned, then there is a problem more to what we have nursed for 40 years. Cameroonians should be capable of understanding and withstanding the wind of change, that the French are no longer necessary, and that we are not maintaining decentralization because we want to defend the interests of a colonial master. Can we govern ourselves otherwise? It will not even be shameful. I mean, it will instead be a victory for us to talk back to our own self and believe that if 1961 institutions were better off, then the argument we gave that maintaining 2 or 3 assembly was too expensive. Today now, it has become extremely expensive to govern within a particular nature. Who were we fooling in 1972? Who were we fooling in 1984 when we changed the name of the republic? We need to be honest. Yeah, countries have maintained.
The decentralization is for the entire nation now.
It is not. I said 22 years of non-applicability of the 1996 constitution indicates in it the inconveniences we are facing now. Meaning the government did not even know what they should do. We need to withdraw the governors. If really we want to carry decentralization to the fullest, withdraw the governors and then give the region to the mayor or the regional assembly president. Make us know that the governor, the DO does not exist. That is what you mentioned. You cannot come within a state, within a region, you have a mayor, you have a DO, you have a governor, you have a regional assembly president. It's total bokum, total bullshit. We need to speak to Cameroonians and be honest. In one region, it doesn't go. It is not functional in any system in the world. Wow. Take out the governors and the DOs, allow the elected official to govern. Then we know that the head of the region, there is a regional president. And after the regional president is the mayor of the town. You have not seen that. I've not seen it in London. I'm still waiting to see where in London there is a governor that rules after the mayor of London. Bigger cities than that.
We are in Africa now.
No, we are not talking Africa. We are talking of modern institutions, Mr. Leonard. Please, I said we are talking of modern institutions. We are in Nigeria. Let's not go to Europe. We are in Nigeria. I need where they should tell us that there is a man and then there's an appointed governor.
We are not in Nigeria, we are in Cameroon.
Please, that is the confusion that is eating Cameroonian, because time and again they will tell you that we are not here. Institutions and knowledge should be borrowed when necessary.
Dr. Aku, I'll come back to you. Why are you guys laughing? Now, Andrew. Now, this is a new institution, like we observed with the Senate and the Constitutional Council. It's going to be a learning process for the beginners, especially the pioneers.
Mr. Liu, I will still say to Cameroonians that the country has entered into a new birth and a new era of line of dispensation, whereby we still believe that we are moving to somewhere.
Okay.
You see, many people may talk about we still implementing the colonial system. I don't look at the decentralization as a colonial system in Cameroon. If you go to Asia and you see how their governments are being run, it's way different from the West. If you go even to England, that he cited, even we have a queen there that remains there for almost all the time. You go to China, the system in China is way different. What am I simply just trying to say is that, Mr. Liu, let each man apply what works for him, and let us not try to compare what works for these other people should be what we should also implement. You realize that, Mr. Liu, if some people may be complaining that these people are being appointed and they were not being elected, I want to also ask that many persons who in our culture who probably had chiefs, you go even into our religious sectors, they have priests and reverends and fathers. You come to, how will I put, even to family. Those people are not being elected. Somehow they are being appointed, either in the religious sector they are being appointed by God, in the traditional sector they are being appointed by the ancestors of the land. So at the end of the day, what am I simply trying to say here, Mr. Liu? Man cannot choose his father. So even if they are being appointed, there must be some form of collaboration with the population that they represent to join them and assist in the acceleration of this decentralization. Now, when he talks about the colonial system, Mr. Liu, I want to still ask some of them who were talking about the federalism, if that should have been the solution for this country. I will tell you that at this point and junction where we are, Mr. Liu, it is an expired medication to be applied for the Cameroon system. If we want this country to work, federation is not going to work, Mr. Liu, because of the history from where we are coming from. And many persons still today may not understand that we are gradually moving out away from the colonial system, and this is what Cameroonians do not want to accept, and to participate in this decentralization to see how we can best manage our own activities. Now, I would want to say that, Mr. Liu, that when it was back then in federation, like when I said before, that the two-state federation which we had in 1961, it was not under the pretext of a people of self-determination, because that was under a colonial system. And if they are still talking about decentralization and talking about how we are still implementing the rule of France in Cameroon, how did they want to manage the federation at that point when we joined with the people who did not have self-determination? So, Mr. Liu, I will still come back to say that if anyone or the political parties that boycotted from these elections, right down to the municipal election, and claiming that it is a party, a CPDM party issue, a campaign which is going on, I will tell you that indirectly, they may not know that they are absolutely, how will I put it, walking in line with the people who want to cut off this country. Because if there is a plan for unism and see how all ethnicity can come together at one point to work together, and people say we are not going to be part of it, then how do you want the country to be built? You want the two-state federation. The question here is, the people who want the two-state federation, whenever have they also asked for election to determine the people who want federation and the people who don't want federation in those two regions? No election have ever taken place. Even when this crisis began, we asked the question that, can you also give the population the chance to choose what they want, or imposing on them that we want to secede? At the end of the day, Mr. Liu, one cannot speak for all. But like I still said, people have their different opinion, and that is life. We must learn to live together by living apart. Let us find a junction. The junction is the one that is going to connect all the regions and the ethnicity in this country, whereby the people can say, okay, this is the vision we have. As long as the vision is stated, Mr. Liu, all the actors, the non-state actors, and the actors that are in place should work together to that common vision. That is the point. As long as the vision is spelled out, Cameroonians are supposed to line up and say, okay, this is our vision, and let us gear towards it. It will take the Cameroonians themselves, Mr. Liu. Forget about all these things, people reading law as if they are reading the laws of God. Tomorrow, these same laws can be changed. This is the beginning of decentralization, and it is being highly monitored. let us take the little, like I still say, we will prefer to keep the lesser evil than to open the door for the greater evil. And this is what I still say to Cameroonians, let us engage in the decentralization, because that is the only thing in this 22nd century that can make Cameroon work and not...
Special greetings to you, Pro Kitoko, and to you, Godzini Dabokam, Ekoge Ta Rosso, Mary Baba Ephraim Te, Gidi, good evening to you, and to you, Edmondo Jr., Dezo Pilaji, good evening to you, and to you, Temawo Ngwetam, who says Mr. Liu is a countryman. I say special greetings to you also. And Sule Makosa, good evening to you. And Hukum Tony, good evening to you. Pius Ayinwe Che and JF Philip Don Pilo, good evening to all of you. Ben Scampik Enyong, good evening to you. And to everybody watching on social media, I will use this opportunity to say Merry Xmas to you guys, and to you, Anita Enotakan, who is watching from America. We say good evening to you. I enjoy the debate that is ongoing on Facebook. It is good. That is also very sound for the democracy. You can you can insult, you can say anything, but let us love ourselves at the end of the day, because we all love whatever we are doing is because we love our communities and our country. So I'll ask you the question I asked him. You spend most of the time responding to doctor and barrister. But my question now is, we saw when this decentralization issue came to Cameroon, the mayors, they spent most of their time attending trainings, refresher courses to understand this concept of decentralization. Yes, now it is regional councils. Do we anticipate a series of trainings again?
Necessarily, because it will be claimed that those who have been elected into office do not master the laws and how it operates. But I keep on asking questions. When the parliamentarians were elected, was there a particular school they placed them there to teach them? I keep on asking, when the president was elected, was there a particular training that he was given? So those are some of the things at times when you see happening, it's just a means of actually consuming taxpayers' money. I think those things are not supposed to be, they are not supposed to be there. If it is by the law, let us execute the law the way it is. There's no particular, I think having seminars is not a bad thing. We could have seminars to train persons, but not as if you should continuously do it, because I think for over 10 years that was done. And I'm not seeing any benefit. And
most of the mayors who were trained are no longer in office.
They are no more in office.
So the new mayors need to receive.
So those are the issues. So it means every year they'll be doing the seminars and consuming taxpayers' money each year. But you see, that is where there is a serious problem. Like I asked, had the president been under such seminars? No. So I don't think it is necessary to get into all that. What they should be focused on doing presently is actually getting to execute the law. But as we are talking, I said something and somebody asked a question. I think it was about what is I talk of deconcentration and decentralization, because what I'm talking of right now, what we are seeing right now, is not decentralization. We are praying for decentralization. Mr. Bako says that there's already decentralization. I would say no, there is no decentralization. There's a deconcentration of power that has been done, and in order to, I will use the word, that's a cosmetic provision, in order to blindfold the people to believe that things are progressive. And if you tell me that this is not another Western method, the Africans do not need all this stuff. We do not need this. If we want to have our system, like I said somewhere, it is necessary that Cameroonians sit behind abandon what they actually received from the colonial masters. If they abandon it, they think of what can work. Meaning that call the entire group of persons, or let's say Cameroonians, to come make decisions on what you think that you want that should be used. There are people who want kingdoms. There are those who want different systems. But until we get to find out, we will never actually know.
But if
and
you
can't speak for one.
if you think you're a Pan-Africanist and you think Cameroonians need to come to the table, why not just create a party and sell that idea?
No.
You do that.
I don't believe in multipartism. That's the first thing you will know, that you know, irrespective of the fact that we are talking. I don't believe in multipartism.
You believe
Because
in what?
I don't believe that there should be multipartism. Multipartism is a system that divides. It's a demonic system that brings division and separates people.
You want us to go back to the epoch of the CNU?
I think the CNU, the method Ahijo used was even better because it helped develop the place. Since the coming of multipartism, we have seen Cameroon turn into pieces. And so I don't believe in all these ideas of multi-parties. Like in Cameroon, we have more than 300 of them. What's the use of all those parties? So as I was saying, when you go back to Beijing, to China, look at the system that the Chinese people have put in place. It is neither communism nor is it democracy. It is their own system they have crafted. And I think in Cameroon and in Africa, we can craft ours. But that should also mean that we should not keep on insisting that what is in play is the best. It is nothing like the best. It is not the choice of the people. And even if we don't want the choice of the people,
okay,
let us...
let's stay within the context of my question. So nobody should be considered new. They should get to work immediately.
Yes,
and
I already said that, Mr. Liu. There is no new. In fact, when you say this person is new, he does not know this.
No, I say it's a new. It's a new institution.
No, I'm not talking you. I'm talking the idea of organizing seminars to teach. That is a kind of saying that this person is new. He does not know. No. He has been managing something before he was elected or appointed. And if he's been appointed, give him the opportunity to work. Don't come and claim that they are part. All those seminars they organize, how many of them have changed the state of the country?
Is that why when we look across the nation, we have persons who have handled position with experience? Does it work very well? Because we are talking about getting to work and then manning a new institution that never existed. Is that why you think maybe the CPDM might have opted for the choice of persons who have handled positions, experienced persons? Would that work for them?
Well, the CPDM people, they don't want anything different from what they know. That is why they take their retired civil servants and put them into new positions.
But they were elected under a manifesto.
They were appointedly elected, sir. Look, most of these people were chosen by Central Committee. Before every election day, we saw the lists in social media. On social media, the lists were going around. And the election just only confirmed those lists. So what we talking about, what election? Central Committee imposed them and they passed. It is only the case of UNDP that is different. The whole country. My friend Me Elango, who was sous-prefet in Bonaberi with us for about 8 years, they went to Bonamusadi. They retired. That is the one they are choosing from Prime Minister's area. Look at it. Prime Minister's area. A man of overconfidence. A man who cannot betray Prime Minister. That's the one they take to put regional president. No. Who are you putting? Northwest. Anglophone. The phone is vice president of CPDM. Then, from his entourage, you take somebody. Massa.
It's a political
compensation. So you must take only somebody who is near the vice president of
People did not go for elections.
What election? The CPDM that won?
It's the CPDM that organized. You see that
So
people
we saw the council election that were managed from Yaoundé for the two regions. So when we come to council to regional election, there was some semblance of election. The council election that gave birth to that one. We also what happened.
The senior barrister, you wanted the CPDM to go get persons from Mars.
You see, those people choosing were not the only ones in the hall. Why couldn't they take neutral persons? They have to take people who are from the intestine. When you cough,
say the same people.
I mean, you must take from the intestine so that you assure 100% that this man can never betray you or can never take a course different from your own. So what development do you want? If you were that good, since you are there, what change has there happened in the ground? No change. Then you are bringing people you call new. You take people who are the same like you. What change would you think? Do you think that those you are bringing who are like you will affect on the ground? If they are the same like you, change is meant to be that you bring new blood to put in. But you carry the same.
No,
you take blood from the same veins.
Can we understand something?
Yes, sir.
You want new blood to come and change what? Because they are going to work. They are going to work. Can we get to the functions of the regional councils? For example, in the domain of health, what they are expected to do.
For health, I was reading. I told you that it was the same thing as
no.
It was the same thing. Health and social development.
Yes, you just
the following power shall be devolved upon regions, creating in accordance with the health map, equipping, managing and maintaining health facilities within the region.
In accordance with the health map, which means that the health map that flows from the Ministry of Public Health. Yes.
Thank you.
So what is the new thing that you want them to?
That is why I said earlier that it was a duplication of the functions of the ministry. That's the reason. You can see it. It's a duplication of the functions.
No,
you go further. Participating in maintaining and managing social advancement and or rehabilitation centers, recruiting and managing nursing and paramedical staff or regional and district hospitals. My God. Those hospitals are managed by directors appointed directly by the president. Wonderful. What type of confusion are they creating? They are creating here like this. No,
but these powers were all in Yaoundé now. They said now let us.
So you mean that the regional presidents will appoint the directors of the regional hospital?
Overpower the minister.
Overpower the president.
The president.
Ha.
There's no law stating the contract.
Recruiting and managing nursing of district hospitals, supporting health facilities and social institutions, implementing preventive and hygienic measures, organizing and managing assistance to the needy, participating in the development of the regional portion of the health map, participating in organizing and managing drug supply, essential reagents and appliances in accordance with the national health policy.
So can we get to the urbanization? Yeah, because many persons, the question is people don't really know what is at stake.
Nothing at stake. Is the duty of the minister that they are simply evoking, and we are asking whether the minister will be the one to execute or it is the regional.
They will join together and do that. No problem.
Mr. Leo, what else do you want?
No,
that is what we talk. That they will join and they will join and.
I've said it's a whole cacophony.
No.
Okay. Now, how soon do we expect to see them swing into action?
Well, the moment they are sworn into office, we have to give them some time to put in place their structures. Because when you say regional president, he needs an office, he needs support staff and all that. He cannot work from his house. So we have to give them some time, maybe to rent some premises in the time being, equip them, and they need some money too, sir. They need some money. I want to remember that, well, the national budget just passed. I've not yet seen what is inside, what was kept for them. But I know that it's not going to be below 15%. Noted that when that decentralization was passed, they said it would go into application in 2023. 23 is not now. So I don't know whether it's 23. Except I'm mistaken, but it's 23. It's not now. So what are we expecting from them? We expect them to put their institutions in place, maybe by renting some small houses and waiting for government to send money, because without money they can do nothing.
Okay. Now,
please, there was something that was said here before, because you see it's a debate. We should clear the air whenever something is said. I have the impression that Mr. Ebaku was mistaken as to the position of most of us here. I am national president for Reform Party. We don't stand for federation. We don't stand for federalism. My position, the position of my party, the party I represent, is confederation. You rightly said that federation cannot work today. It cannot. But where you went wrong was that you said what happened in 1961 was a result of colonialism. Sir, in 1961 there was no colonialism. There was swindling, political swindling. Political swindling, because the Republic of Cameroon, that was supposed to sign a union treaty with Southern Cameroon, carried the draft constitution, which Foncha refused to sign in Fumban. They took it to their own assembly that passed it as a constitutional amendment, and that was what became the federal constitution.
Okay.
So that was what happened. They today like this.
Okay. This
what
question,
we are living today is a repeat of colonialism, because when you look at the governors and the prefects and the sous-prefects, what are they wearing? Colonial uniform.
Yeah.
So how can you see all that and say that today is advancement in democracy?
But
that is colonialism.
You're also quoting
Thank
that,
you.
that
And we are no, this is not a uniform, sir. You see, when you look at Mr. Leo, 1 minute, sir. When we look at the duties of the sous-prefect,
it's Bako and
when we look at the duties of the sous-prefect,
we are going out of topic.
When you talk about the colonialism, now who is the colonizer? Who are you referring as the colonizer here?
Please.
Should I answer you?
No, go ahead and answer.
No. That's the moderator, not you.
Okay.
No, I think we are talking African. There is Dr. Ako and Ebako who look African in the studio here. Now, my question to you, no, somebody has a question for you, Dr. Ako. The person is writing from the United States. I would like to ask Dr. Ako John, what is the difference between decentralization and federalism? Dr. Ako John, federalism is a child of decentralization. There can never be effective federation when the state institutes are not effectively decentralized. Army Charles Rogers, writing from the United States.
Yes, Rogers, I'm just telling you that deeply bred systems in the world, federalism is of English Anglo-Saxon, and decentralization is what we call a francophonie. And that's what reigns everywhere. And this is the fear of the French, that if the word federalism is accepted as governance, when there is a stricto sensus pass to their grassroots, that is what he doesn't know. We are not going to talk where a uniform in the United States, where he is, carries a colonial, a uniform which addresses and resembles one of a foreign nation. It should dress in a traditional regalia and fit to be African from where he comes from. Because these are imposed, how can I call, protocol duties ethically from the colonial system. We need that system which answers the people, not individuals. I mean the people who elected you. I'm telling you that he will equally believe that in a federal system, the people, if they are not comfortable with you, the next mandate you are ruled out. But not one where you are appointed, like we have just said. Because when it is not comfortable, you find in a decentralized system. Why do they appoint a secretary general at the head of the region? It's because the central power feels like if powers are given fully to the region without his own eyewitness or observer within that region, they might lose control. This is not what goes on with other regions. This is not what goes on with federalism. Federalism is that the people have autonomy. Like we are talking here. When you go, I said nearby Nigeria, you said let's quote Cameroon. Governors across River State has their economic policy, agricultural policy, development policy, road policy, independent from that of the federal system. It's not like we're in Douala. Not that the main roads, imagine Ndogoti right up to Pekatrant, the government knows that this is the national policy. But when you come to the sub-quarters, this belongs to the region. The region manage and mentors the internal organization, and then the main issues like security is an issue of the state. Police is of the federal government. Which police in Cameroon takes power from the local mayor? The police, that is which it will not. It will not.
But the mayors have their municipal.
That is, how many of them do you see here? We are talking of the state police. When you go to New York, you find the New York Police Department. This is the mayor who is their chief. When it comes to an event, they are behind him. You don't see him behind whosoever president of the United States. The president of the United States controls the military and all that. Whether it's firefighting brigades or they are under the mayor. If he is in the United States, and up to now, he has not very well understood the difference between federation and decentralization. I will not maybe blame him, but it is time for him to enroll himself in a more recent standard to really study if there is a neat distinction between decentralization and federalism. There are two very opposing points, where one believes in laxity and liberation, and another one still believes on control and centralization. That is why you say decent, meaning there is centralization before you are invoking decent. Thank you.
Decentralization. Baku, they have taken parts, and where should focus be, please, now, especially for the case of the Northwest and Southwest region?
Come again.
Where should be the focus for those who are taking office, the newly elected officials?
Well, their effort is to, like I said before, is to join in the common vision of this decentralization and to put in their best and get the population of those two regions collaborating and helping the actors to actually carry out their activities effectively. Yes, it may be true, like he said, that the federation and decentralization, you cannot talk about decentralization if there was no centralization of a centralized system. You see, and when we talk about how much power is given to these councillors or the presidents of these regions, like I still said, we are still yet to see how much power will be relinquished to these regions. We will still see the administrative autonomy, a financial autonomy that will also be allocated to these regions. But what Mr. Liu, like my co-barrister was talking of, another just a duplicate. I will not call it a duplicate because you are not referring to the same actors. You are talking here of different individuals and different actors that are coming in, probably maybe addressing the same issue, but now representing the regions or the sub-regions and their population, which we cannot say that they don't have any role. I would deny that absolutely, that it's not correct. If today you are made, for example, a commissioner of police in Douala, and maybe a prof is made the assistant commissioner, for example, representing the people of another area as a commissioner in this area, they may be having the same title, but they have a different areas they are addressing and interests they are protecting. So I feel that the actors in the regional elections have a role and have a responsibility which is different from the how will I put it, whether the governors or the SGO or the mayor. They have a critical role which they are playing. And this, like I still said, that they said for almost how many years it has not been applicable. We don't refuse this, but that is why I said clearly that Cameroonians must understand the history from where we are coming from and know that we are gradually slipping away from a colonial system. And if Cameroonians do not see that picture, that this is where we are going to, then they may not know where we are coming from.
Okay, I want us to get this. I'm getting confused here. You say we are moving from the colonial system to something else.
We are getting ourselves.
Can we contextualize it to what is happening with decentralization?
That is the more reason why, Mr. Liu, I say the decentralization is a historic moment for Cameroonians.
Okay.
Because it is going to put it has somehow, I will tell you that we are no longer where we used to be. Because like I said, it has solved an age-pending problem, Mr. Liu, which that problem has totally been resolved. Because at the end of the day, like I still said, Mr. Liu, the problem we have been having in Cameroon, it has been marginalization and tribalism. But now the decentralization has put a halt to all of that. When you come into a region of somebody, you must respect the indigents of that region. I'll give a very clear example what the people of the Southwest have been suffering for many years. They have been suffering in the sense that they have been for long marginalized by the Northwesterners. But now the decentralization resolves that particular problem. No, let us be clear. It's an example I am giving that has solved that problem. Now again, what other problem has it also resolved?
How are they marginalized?
Mr. Liu, yes, Mr. Liu, let me, I will not want to go back so far. I don't know if you understand me, but I will give you some very simple analysis why, for example, some like the All Anglophone Conference never took place. It's not because the government stopped it.
Okay.
The government did not stop the All Anglophone Conference. It
How
was
could you
the.
say that, Mr.
No,
Allow me to talk.
let him
I'm
please.
talking. I'm talking because I have inside information.
Inside.
It will only come on the media that the government stopped it. But I'm telling you the simple truth that it has been the elites of the Southwest who refused vehemently. They will not take place. They will not take part in that conference. I remember very well. I was present when the governor was called, and I don't want to. No, I'm not going to call down in Mr. Liu. They claim they will not go to. They will not entertain that meeting in Boya. The meeting should be carried to the northwest. And when the people of the southwest declined from taking part in that meeting, the government said the meeting was not going to.
Who are the elites?
I don't want. I'm not going to call names, but I'm just.
No, not names.
I'm simply trying to tell you that. I am telling
please.
you that the decentralization is going to create mutuality among all the regions and tribe and ethnicity in this country.
Okay.
Because Cameroon cannot advance when Cameroonians cannot respect themselves and cannot protect the minority. Minorities in every community, if they cannot have a room that can give protection to minority, then the country cannot advance.
Okay. I want us to look at this time to work, and seemingly there is going to be a regional president who is the big man of the region. There's going to be the governor.
Go ahead.
There's going to be the city mayor in the same town. Are we? No, please, let's get a little bit serious
I'm
now.
listening. You are spoiling me the same
Mr. Liu himself is interested.
Yes.
Yes. Yes. So,
Yes.
mm.
Mr. Leo,
how do we reduce the probability for conflicting powers so that the work can effectively be done?
Mr. Leo, we have a lot of issues on our plate here. And it is practically going to boil down on power conflict.
Okay.
First, they remove what they call government delegates. Then they instituted super mayors.
City mayors.
Yes, the city mayors and they are super mayors.
Just to complete that, a host of those government delegates were reappointed regional presidents.
Yes. Okay. So you have mayors who are supposed to run their particular constituencies. Then there is a city mayor who runs that same city in which they are involved in a particular area. Then at the same time we come again, we have regional councillors, forgetting to say that there is a newly elected executive office. We have the governor who is attached to that same office. Then coming down to the super mayor, I don't know his position, how he operates in relation to the fact that there's a DO who runs so that particular division. Then you have the sub-DOs, we'll call them DOs because you have senior DO and the sub-DOs, who are also attached to the mayors. At the end of the day, you start asking questions. Why is it that there are so much persons brought into this thing? Why can't some of these people be eliminated? Why can't some of these offices be eliminated? I think Douala was supposed to have a mayor. The whole idea of Douala 1, Douala 2, Douala 4, Douala 5, 6, having all mayors all over. What is the use of that? We have...
Is it not to bring administration closer to the people?
That's
not what we are trying.
You see, we are saying that we want to bring administration closer to the people. But I believe that a mayor in Douala has that capacity to relate with the people.
Remember, he's not a loner.
Yes.
The mayor in Douala has about 5 assistants.
I know.
In each of the mayor councils, there are 5 assistants. Which means the 5 assistants can still be heads and leaders of the various constituency within the same Douala.
So, Mr. Liu, at the end of the day, when you look at it, we are having a problem. Because we are struggling to solve a problem and creating another problem. This problem, you know I can understand the position of a Bako. He's not being a position of a Pan-Africanist. I'm struggling to fight for my people as Africans. You can't tell me that when you are speaking the same thing you are speaking. I just heard you made a statement here on TV. You can't stand and make a statement on TV that the Northwest people are marginalizing the Southwesterners on TV. That is a crime for somebody who is fighting for the very. We are talking of Pan-Africanism.
But that is why decentralization resolve those pending issues. Those are issues.
We don't have much time.
We are talking.
Those
are issues.
Those are distractions. So, Mr. Leo, as I said, with all these issues coming down, with all this multitude of offices created, we are going to have conflicts of power. Thank God, in the Northwest and the Southwest, there is an independent public conciliator that has been appointed. Like I said, they were supposed to appoint this in the other 8 regions, because the problems that are going to be happening in the Northwest and Southwest will still happen in the other 8 regions, because they have already brought in a lot of persons to do the same job. A lot of persons to run the same office. And in that sense, we might say that they are taking a good road, but at the same time digging a hole which everybody who is walking through it will fall into it. Okay. So that is where I have as a problem, Mr. Liu. We need to I think there is need for the government to go back, sit down and rethink this particular law that they have written and try to re-establish it so that it be fitting to actually run the various regions without conflicts, because we want to solve conflict problems, not create them. Already there's going to be a lot of conflicts.
Okay. Now, I want us to look at the position, though some people think that it was created today through a presidential decree. But it is found in the law, the independent public conciliator. When you look at the dispositions, it states that the process of getting an independent public conciliator is supposed to be initiated by the representative of the state, and then in collaboration with the newly elected president, they are supposed to submit a list of 3 persons to the head of state to choose amongst this. You think this position is going to help many issues in the Southwest and Northwest regions?
Well, we have to have in the background of our minds that this is a new post. It has never been experimented anywhere in this country. So, well, this is somebody who is coming to work for the first time, and all we can try to analyze is what we see in the laws that are putting this man in place. Well, from the definition of this special public conciliator, it looks like an angel that has been sent to deliver sinners in the council administration. But when you look at the tools that are being given to this personality to work with, you start asking yourself, but are they not creating more confusion? Okay, they said this special conciliator can be seized by natural persons on matters concerning individuals and councils. But before you seize him, you must have, prior to your petition, have petitioned the person against whom you are complaining. This is a simple duplication of the procedure before the administrative court. So we notice here that they are creating duplication. You want to go to administrative court, it's the same thing. You want to go to special conciliator, it's the same thing. The next provision is that he is only competent where no court has passed a final judgment. So you can still carry the same matter to administrative court and go to special conciliator. Hey, mama. You see, I think that these people, they have their practice of making laws look like rain. The laws are like rain, they're up there, they mature and they fall down the population. They don't ask the people's opinion before they go enacting this type of obnoxious laws, I want to draw your attention to section 266. Sorry if there is any CPDM person here, but this party is not doing justice to this country. In accordance with the laws in force, the region may undertake actions that are supplementary to those of the state. The regions belong to who? Are they not part of the state? So they may undertake actions that are supplementary to those of the state. You see, they are considering these regions that have been created now like some foreign bodies. The regions are part of the state. They are part of the state. Maybe they want to talk of the government, but the state, the regions are part of the state. You cannot say that they can carry out actions that are supplementary to those of the state. They are the state by Article 2 of the Constitution. They are part of the state. So please, this is nonsense. I said again that the presidents of the regions don't have any control over councils. Please, section 266 of 2. It shall propose to councils under its jurisdiction, measures to promote the coordination of local development action and investment. As such, regional councillors shall participate as of right in the proceedings of the board of their councils of attachment in an advisory capacity. You see, they propose and their councillors are advisory. So what control do the regional executive have over the councils? They don't have anything. From what we are reading here, you see, it is clear. Advisory, proposing. They are supposed to be the bosses. But as you rightly pointed out, their supervisory authority is the SDO. It's the SDO. It is not the council. So what are we creating? A special neo-colonialistic structure where you have elected officials working in place with appointed people who appear in uniforms. And what is the difference?
Is the state not supposed to be represented?
Excuse me, sir. What is the difference between the mayor and the divisional officer? One is appointed, the other is elected. In functions, they do the same things. They have the same functions. DO, mayor. It has been existing for years. Now they are creating another one again. Governor, regional president. Another duplication.
Yeah,
one must disappear.
With different effects, eh?
One must disappear, sir. You cannot keep the two.
With different effects.
Yeah, but
but
we should also underline the
you
fact.
You have to be balanced with different effects.
Yeah, but we should underline
effects.
Different effects. Let us look at the effects. Councils are managed by under the control of who? Of the Minister of Decentralization. Mm-hmm. The DOs are under who? Minister of the Administration. Mm-hmm. Two bosses. Mm-hmm. Yet, SDO is the supervisory authority of the mayor.
How can that be?
Special.
No, but I will still say with different effects.
Yes, Mr.
The governor is
the direct representative of the head of state, alongside the SDO. So while they represent the head of state, they are supervising local government.
But with different effects.
With different effects, how?
Mayors are they carrying out the activities?
Please, we have 15 more minutes. Dr. Ako, John Ako, how do we avoid this conflict? Is it possible?
Well, it's possible. If I was thinking that the first step for Cameroon to move forward and that we are implementing decentralization somewhere was to annul because we cannot
in the current dispensation, elections have taken place already.
Elections have taken place. Mr. Leo, we are not expecting anything from that election. We're not expecting anything from the institution. I will tell you that after the elections, you could imagine there were a lot of feasting in the homes for those that have been newly elected, meaning people are already celebrating their new salaries. Those that were on retirement are happily coming back into actions and think that it is time for what the services they have rendered to the state has once recognized them again as active participants within the BR regime or the New Deal government. We are going to see that type of a stagnant assembly in all the regions that carry out what I call protocol meetings, resolution written and resolution which are not even implemented, because even going to the head of state himself, there are a lot of economic and political agendas for more than 20 years, it has never been implemented. On the 31st, we are going to witness another speech, which I don't know, for 40 years, how far those speeches have been helping us.
You may be surprised.
They can't accept 40 years after. An Englishman says a fool at 40 is a fool forever. So if we are aware, I have advised several times that the whole system need to be unraveled and others need to resign officially. Remember, the U.S. ambassador advised our own head of state before 2018 that it is time for him to step down and maintain his legacy. And this is where Cameroon is. After 2018, we organized election and we have been winning. We choose and appoint those who organize these elections. Our party is represented in some region only alone, and then we still come out to say we are in a democratic society. Democracy is different from dictatorship, and that we have to always be very confident with what we want and defend our opinion. Because I believe what is killing Cameroonians today is that the fact that there were elections means there is democracy. Forget about it. We are aware of the maneuver of the regime in power to sanitize or launder their image within the international community. There is a need for us to accept to work for Cameroon. Within the present context, if we are honest, we need to see at the level of the SPLM party, people contesting for the position of the president of the republic in the next mandate. 2025 is not far. We need to see a national congress of the civilian party where people will come and elect a new officer so that they will give us the break. I said sometime here that change of leadership does not necessarily mean a new party should come over. Changing leadership within the same party can do us better. We are not saying what CPDM, the whole group, I mean the scammed of that particular group is bad, but we need to see some changes and they believe in change. At times, just changing the leadership may change a lot. Within the level of the various councils or whatsoever assembly we have been created, Mr. Leo, don't ask me again next time because we know the result. When we see the same causes produce the same effect at the level of the Senate, when we see the same causes produce the effect at the level of the National Assembly, what will be the role of a regional assembly? Okay. I'm just saying that it is a political scam group that try to manage the national cake and give benefits to those who have been supporting the system. He rightly said it. When you look at those who are presidents of the 10th region, it will give you an indication that it is just a political compensation. Okay. This is just what it was made of. And we are happy that those who are on retirement as governor or SDOs have come back to power to control now in the name of representative. Give a leopard a goat skin, he remains a leopard. Nothing changes from it.
Okay. Special greetings to all of you out there in Nyasaso. Bachu Ernest was supposed to be part of this edition of the program from Nyasaso. Unfortunately, the wife took ill, so he moved straight to Limbe to meet his wife, but he asked me to extend special Christmas greetings to the following persons watching from Nyasaso. He says greetings to you, Commander Sone, and to you, Papa Wata, and to you, Fritz Elong, last J, and not forgetting Mr. Chukudi. Good evening to all of you and to everybody who is watching, wherever you are watching us from. We are extending our wishes, best wishes for the Christmas celebration. Andin Atemebako, I don't know, you are not very comfortable with what Dr. Ako just said, but what should be the spirit that should animate those who are expected to take duties as a regional executive across the nation, because lots of expectations, irrespective of what is being said here. Many persons are expecting a lot from the newly elected officials.
Which is true, Mr. Liu. You know, because of the armed conflict down there, it seems as if nothing is happening, especially to the people who see things in a different perspective. You see, but like I said before, Mr. Liu, the regional elections and the councillors which are in place is resolving, like I still said, as many people would have expected. It is not addressing the current crisis on ground, which is the armed conflict situations that are on ground in the northwest and in the southwest. It is not in respect to that. This is solving a problem, and which that problem, I believe, has been resolved. Now, let us look at Cameroon from where we are right now. We are in a state of decentralization. We are not going to apply or listen probably maybe the ambassador of the United States came down to Cameroon and advised the head of state to come. No, I think that, Mr. Liu, we may be claiming to say we are a democratic nation, but at the end of the day, we must be able to find what can work for the Cameroonians and not trying to apply what it does not even work for other communities. Like I will still say, in the context of democracy does not mean that we can express views that cannot accelerate our country. Decentralization is the only thing right now. If we can talk on the details on what should have been done, like they talk about the duplicates. Mr. Liu, I don't see. Look all over. We find many churches all over. Look all over. You find services coming right to people's door just to make life easy. I said that the duplicates do not have the same effects. The game may be the same, but the actors that are representing the game are coming on the behalf of different groups of people and are representing different interests. So the role of a mayor is not the same as the role of the divisional officer. Let us be clear about that. But at the end of the day, as in a decentralized system, we may still have the senior divisional officer controlling the mayor. But the mayor has a budget and has some level of power to manage his own community. And these are the things that I'm saying that, Mr. Liu, that we as of now do not still know how much power is going to be decentralized in these councillors. But what is important...
No, the competencies already, the powers are there now.
No, that is what he has said. But we
no, that means the law.
No, that is what the law has said. What I was going to say rather was they are going to be budgets which will be carved out. And that budget is what we also call power. What you are going to use the budget to do in developing your own region. So these are the things which I say that we cannot deny those details because we want to just sabotage and condemn. It is not the fault of CPDM. I don't support CPDM, but as an analyst and someone who believes in the advancement of this country and understands some of the problems that the people, especially in the Northwest and Southwest, have been facing, it is not the fault that of CPDM to do what they are doing. If any party would have won the same thing, they will also apply their own thing that works for them. Let me come here. Mr. Liu, it has been out of frustration. Because when this crisis began and many persons at that 2018 election, they ran in. My question there, when I began condemning a lot of those political actors, 350 political parties in Cameroon, Mr. Liu, and none is able to beat CPDM out of the power. Why do they still keep adding every day? When the 2018 election, all of them ran into that election. Municipal election came, they all boycotted. Regional election came, they all boycotted. This has given CPDM the ground to hold seats all over, and they are playing the game in their own way that favors their own party, but at the end of the day, they still have a primary objective to advance the nation. Now, what do the other non-state actors, what are they supposed to do? I think that, Mr. Liu, CPDM right now being in power, we cannot change that for now, except when the next elections are coming. But the only thing we can do is to pray that the lesser power stays in before we begin to know how we can fix things. Otherwise, it gives room to the greater, the lesser evil. If the greater evil comes into place, Mr. Liu, all these things we are talking will not be talking. So that's what I'm saying, that let us try to manage a small good. In the absence of a crocodile, we can manage a lizard. Let us see how we can manage what we have now and advance the nation forward to what we may not have right now.
Why with the last statements of Bako, at the present moment, we have something that is there. We can talk and talk and talk, but at the end of the day, what I would say is that we can begin with where we are now. But it doesn't mean that, like we have been saying, those laws are actually contradictory. And the position that Mr. Bako has been holding here, that a circle is not a circle, it seems as if there's a problem there. Because you can't say that people who have
that is a circle.
Because you can't claim that the Joe who is running the municipality and the mayor who's running the municipality do not have the same function. They have the same function. There's nothing like different effects. The same. And you see, the problem is, this is the way.
I think, are we not supposed to also, I don't know how we understand this, but actually the regional councils, when you look at what they have to do, they have no powers over the public service.
Yes.
And seemingly the governor works with the public service. Meanwhile, the regional council and the mayors and the city mayors, they work with the
Mr.
population.
Leo,
Yes.
this is where we're. Let me just conclude before you come in. This is
that's what is in the law.
Mr. Leo,
they have different effects.
this is where we are talking. This is where I've been talking since.
Yes.
If we have to talk of decentralization, then all those powers that are existing, they should be hands off. You see, that is the idea. It means that my brother Ebako does not understand what decentralization is about. You can't claim that you are talking about decentralization, then you have duplicate offices that are handling the same issues.
Double shot.
Actually, double shot.
Double shot.
That's a good one.
See, you are, today, I don't know where Ebako is coming from today. It seems as he was tired. So.
He wants to be actually double shot by duplicating the office.
Double shot. A man cannot walk on one leg. That's the way the government looks at it.
So anyway,
the way the government looks at it.
That's a good one.
To round up on this, I will say, I think that at the present moment, the talking won't change the issues on the ground. So it is necessary that we should be able to see how to educate Cameroonians to walk along with what is happening on the ground and be able to assist into it. But we should not forget, we are not only talking to the citizens of Cameroon, we are also talking to the government. Let the government be able to work on what has been done, because what they have written has a lot of problems.
No, yes.
Yes, I have a worry on people who believe on doing little things. And the issue is that when you believe in doing little things and the things fail, you hang on nothing. If I, within us, the person I am, that there is a best option we can go for it, I go for the best, because we have the resources to go in for it. We have the human capital to do it, which is necessary in all regions. What stops Cameroon from imitating or emulating a perfect system and working on it? He said, yeah, you look at it, people tell you that what we talk in Cameroon doesn't matter. Then it's one of the highest failure of human rights. Because within the causes of human rights, what I was taught is that the expression and wishes of the people should be capable of having a direct impact in decision making. But if it is Cameroon that they still tell you in the 21st century, you can make your noise and we do what we want. These are the laws we're having here. Rubbish. Total rubbish for us to copy. I'm just telling you. Yeah, one of the things,
I take exception to that.
The people, I'm just telling you that we are here to share an opinion, and we will know that time and again we will live on to work with it. Yeah, but that will not stop us from giving brilliant ideas as counselors when we come on platforms like yours, which permit us to share that opinion. Those who are looking at it as a way of criticizing, go on talking. It is just too common a Cameroonian malaise. The people should keep on talking. So meaning your role here is not needed. There was no need they granted you the permission and the license to broadcast. It's because there is a need for the media, and that is why we give an opinion. And I said, and I insisted, when you go on roads in Cameroon, a minister is coming to inspect a road less than 1 kilometer. The governor is there. The DO is there. The mayor is there. The gendarme is there. The bees are there. This one is there. And at the end of the day, the road that was previewed for 7 billion francs ended up as envelope well shared. Even when gutters are not covered, gutters are not covered as we find in Douala, it is giving a positive report that the road was well executed. Okay. Just imagine such mess up.
Yes, we are done. Your last words.
Thank you, Mr. Dio. I want to thank Mr. Bako for recognizing that the putting in place of this thing will not solve the Anglophone crisis. Thank you for that. But I want to remind you that the purpose of the Grand National Dialogue was to come up with solutions to end the Anglophone crisis. So if the law that was put in place as a result of that dialogue cannot solve the crisis, I think it is time for you to pack your bags and go.
A correction. When you talk about the Anglophone crisis, I will ask you which one. Because there are two Anglophone crises.
So I was just saying that.
So which is the one you are talking about?
Can I finish, sir?
Okay, go ahead.
I have 30 seconds to finish. I was just saying that since you recognize that this law cannot, it cannot solve the crisis, then my advice to you CPD people, you have wasted our time too much. Please carry your things and go. Other parties are there. We can manage this country and avoid because look, like Chop Group.
So now, senior barrister, mobilize people to register.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you, Mr. Leo, for the opportunity. I will always be available when I'm needed. Thank you, and greetings to all those watching at us, especially to my family back at home.
Okay, yes, Ibako.
Well, I think you've said it well. Let him mobilize his people to go and vote. People should not be avoiding to go out and vote. And secondly, I want to also let the barrister know that it has solved a problem. And we cannot avoid the fact that a problem has been resolved. Many persons are focusing on the armed conflict because it has upsetted the two regions. But an old age problem has been resolved, Mr. Liu. Why we are looking at the armed conflict?
Which one?
The marginalization.
Are you forgetting about Moja Moja?
Moja Moja is who?
He came after.
Please, no, that's not part of this program.
No, I'm not going on that.
Okay.
You should at least let me enlighten Mr. Bako. On one point, the electoral system will not permit you to win.
Why?
There was a consultation group that did a sampling of
how did SDF
somewhere in Boston.
Please,
in Boston, results were given before election that the head of state won with 74%, and it came seemingly representing the opinion of the Boston Institute. Then there was an issue of 32 pages from election, which we have not seen now. Few days after, fire caught in the house where electoral materials were kept. How will you win election with votes?
Okay,
My brother, it's not a situation of Cameroon now.
We want to thank you, guys, Desmond and Eli, and whoever is Bertrand is at the broadcasting. We want to sincerely use this opportunity to once again wish all of you a great feast tomorrow. We love you so much. Stay blessed. Bye-bye.